There are 7 areas here we are going to be addressing today. Academics, campus safety, student needs, fiscal responsibility, community relations, decision-making, and interpersonal skills. But before we start, I would like to, first of all, thank San Diego North County Neighbors Alliance, and represent Oceanside. The lady back in there, over there in the yellow shirt, Arlene, stand up. We meet on the 3rd Saturday of every month at 10 a.m. at Pit Stop, and we talk about making government work for you. We want to make sure that, especially our city council, is representing our needs. So both these groups have sponsored today, so thank you. I don't do really well. My name is Jordy Fellner. I did teach in the district from 1989 to 2018, so I am familiar with Oceanside Unified School District 710. However, I know, like any entity, that there's always things that work and there's always things that can be better. So this is a election year. All 4 candidates were invited for District 2 and District 5. Unfortunately, the challengers were not able to make it. Unfortunately, the incumbents were not able to make it. But the challengers are here. So we have Emily Wichman, she's over here, she's District 2. And we have Rosie Hagari here, and she represents District 5. And you will find out today that they're both very passionate. They are 2 different individuals, but they both lead, they both have things that would really benefit our children. That is why we're here today. If you have not had a chance to get a note card and you have a question that relates to any of these 7 areas, please raise your hand. In other words, if you have a question like about academics and you would like that addressed, that would go in basket number 1. If you have a question about campus safety, that would go in basket number 2. If you have a question about student needs, that would go in number 3. Fiscal responsibility of the district would go under number 4. Community relations would go in number 5. Decision making, how the board comes about making their decisions they make. You feel that there's something they do well, or there's something they need to do better. That would go in number 6, and number 7 is interpersonal skills, because as we all know, interpersonal skills are really important no matter what your business is. Number 8 is a blank basket. If you have a question you do not feel it goes under categories 1 through 7, then it would go in basket number 8. The last basket does not have a number. By the end of the time, I'm sure we have 2 phenomenal women here. You will be blown away by them. If you want to give your contact information or you have any further questions, we will have that opportunity at the end, and that would go into the blank basket. So I'm going to give people a few minutes that came in that did not have an opportunity to write their questions to put them in one of the baskets. Was there anybody else who needs a note card? I'm waiting for someone to come up. They said I was not loud enough.
I'm just going to move my.
Okay, you're welcome to do
Now
that.
that I
Can
understand.
you repeat the categories? We can't see all.
Sure, I'm sorry. Okay, the categories.
See them, the thing is in the way, but.
The categories are.
Well, that's because you guys put this over here after you give it out. I have an idea. There you go. Thank you. Okay, this is called problem solving. That's number 8.
Okay, number 1 is academics. So if you have any question about academics, I think that it falls in the area of academics. You would fill out a note card, and that would go in basket number 1. If you have a question about campus safety on any of the campuses, not necessarily the campus your child is on, if you have friends and they're experiencing problems with their campuses, we encourage you to fill out a note card, and that would go in number 2. Anything that has to do with student needs, whether it's special ed, whether it's gifted, whether it's speech, IEP minutes, anything that goes under student needs would go into question number 3, bucket number 3. Number 4, fiscal responsibility. General education, the largest portion of money that our state budget goes to K through 12 public education. education. So if you feel that there's something that is not being met or the money is not being allocated where it needs to be, you can comment on that. If you feel there's an area that the district has recently emphasized as a need and you feel that's something they're doing well, you can also comment on that. You might want to say this area, I notice it's an area that is being done well. Please leave it intact in case there's any budget constraints. You know that could also go in there as well. That would go number 4. Number 5, community relations. That's kind of a big bucket. So community relations is kind of twofold. Community relations is, are your board members available to you if you have a concern? Is the principal of your school available if you have a concern? Do you feel like you are communicated with in a timely manner? I know schools send out I don't know if they still use Peach Star, but I know when I was teaching we did use Peach Star, but there were different ways to communicate to parents. And some parents are okay with it, some parents feel it's too much, some parents feel it's not enough. Some parents have a concern with conference schedules, some parents have a concern with late school, early school, whatever. So anything that you feel that goes in their community relations that you have a question about or concern, you would put that in the basket number 5. Basket number 6, decision making. Obviously the school board, they're handling the lives of our children. They're handling student achievement. And we all know that education is the equalizer for students, and our students do matter. So if you have a question about the decision making, I know, like for instance, several years back, the busing issue was huge. So if there's a question about something that's a decision making that has affected your student, or you've heard that it is being pondered as a possibility that could affect your student in the near future, or you have a question about something about why was this decision made, it might not be a decision you agree with, you would put that in basket number 6. Basket number 7 is interpersonal skills. So obviously to run a successful district, it takes a village, as we all know. So whether you're a parent, whether you're a student, whether you're a board member, whether you're an administrator, whether you're a new duty, whether you're classified, whether you're certificated, everybody matters. And we need to have all those cogs in the wheel for our students to succeed and be able to complete in the global world tomorrow. So interpersonal skills, whether it's a question about something that's happening on the playground in a school or different things that you would put in number 7. If you're not sure, if you have a question and it does not fall under one of those categories, you would put it in basket number 8, okay? What is probably going to happen is as we're going through today, you are going to find that some of these questions might be addressed the way the questions are formatted. Rather than having me up here and our 2 wonderful candidates up here for a long period of time, I'm going to present the questions to them. They're going to answer the questions, and then basket number 1 is going to come up and we'll go through those questions. If that question was addressed, when the sorter is sorting through those questions, if that question was addressed based on how our 2 wonderful candidates answer it, then that question obviously would be put away. So I'm going to start by having, I did want to go through a couple rules. Number 1, no surrogates are allowed here. I have gone through this. Like I said at the very beginning, all 4 were invited. The 2 challengers obviously were invited. The 2 incumbents, Mike Blessing and Eleanor Evans, were also invited. So they were told that they cannot send surrogates here. In other words, somebody cannot ask a question on behalf of Eleanor Evans. Somebody cannot ask a question on behalf of Mike Blessing. The people need to be here because you cannot go into someone's mind and anticipate how they're going to answer a question. So that's the same thing. When you're asking your questions, it's something that you have firsthand knowledge of, okay? I'm going to start by allowing each candidate to speak for 2 minutes and tell you why they are running for the School District Board of Education. So we're first going to start with District 2, which is Emily Widgeman. So Emily Widgeman. Emily, here you are. Oh.
Yes, many of you I know in this room, and you know I've been here a long, long time, and I've been on the school board for 24 years. 1993 to 2018. I will govern the same way as I did before. I've always been fair. I mean, at that time, I felt like we were a family. We got into our rumbles and our disagreements, but we really rolled with it and we continued it. Because I was on the board for so long, and of course it's been now 6 years, the last 4 years I've noticed how it's being run, and it's not being run properly. I know. Also that I know I can make changes. There's a lot of policies, there's a lot of mindsets that's different. The mindset now is the superintendent's rule and reign, and not only here in our school district, but in the other school districts that I looked into. And so the board members really don't know their job, and if you look at the policy, it's right there in the books. Also, so again, I'm really big on academics. When I got into the district, when I first got in there, we didn't know spelling tests, we didn't know multiplication tables, and we had a superintendent that came in and did that. And that made a change with our grades and our scores, and that's what I plan to do again. I know how we did it, I know how we did it. So academic excellence, yes, back to basics, yes, those are what our kids need. This is not Carlsbad, this is not Vista, this is Oceanside. We need to do it for our Oceanside kids, so we need that kind of education for academic excellence. Also campus safety. Restorative justice is not working the way I guess it should be working, only on paper. The staff does not feel supported, and then admin doesn't feel supported, so that needs to change. Again, accountability, and I'm looking at the superintendent's accountability. I mean, I don't say anything bad about the teachers, and if they can pull something out, I'd like them to see, because it's all about the superintendents. It's their responsibility to get our school district back in shape. Our superintendent makes over $300,000 salary and compensation. And every pay raise, she gets $10,000. They all get $10,000. That's not right. Right there. Okay, thanks.
Good afternoon, I'm Rosie Higuera. I'm running for Oceanside, District 5. That encompasses College Boulevard, all the way west to El Camino Real and Douglas. And at the top, it's Mission San Luis Ray River Road to Oceanside Boulevard. If you are in that district, you can vote for me, and you can have your friends and neighbors vote for me as well. I am not a politician. My most important job is wife and mother, and now I'm a grandmother. Our 3 children grew up here in Oceanside. We are homeowners. We've lived here 24 years. We have a vested interest in this community. We love this community. Our kids all went through the Oceanside school system, graduated El Camino High. They had wonderful teachers. I knew them all. I worked closely with them. The teachers were doing a fantastic job. But I have seen in the last 4 years going to school board meetings that this current school board, the 5 school board members that are elected by you, the people, they have all the power, but they're always voting 5-0 to the detriment of students. This is not the way local government is set up. Those 5 school board members represent you. They are the voice of the students and the taxpayers, and they are supposed to do what you want. They actually hold all the power. They could actually fire the superintendent. But here it's all backwards. The superintendent is the puppet master, and her 5 little puppets do everything that she says. And they all are not working for the benefit of our district. You can see in the test scores, the proof is there. The grades are in the 30s and 40s, despite millions and millions of dollars that they have at their disposal. So I want to go and I want to bring change, positive change. I want to put our kids first, safety first. Our kids are being bullied and sexually harassed, and so are our parents when they come to school board meetings. That has got to change. So that's why I decided to run and fight for our children, fight for our community, because they are our leaders. They deserve a world-class education, and I will ensure that they get one. And I want to listen to the parents. And I want to work together with them and the teachers and clean up our school systems. Thank you.
There are chairs for those of you that are standing, and you don't have to stand unless you're trying to, I don't know, burn off 2 more calories by standing. So you could have a cookie later on in your seats.
Okay, question number 1. Yes, Arlene.
I know that you told me all the candidates received the questions previously.
The candidates that are attending did receive the questions, yes. The candidates that did not, the candidate, Mr. Blessing had responded that he was not going to be here. So we went back and forth, and then when no surrogates, he did give me his platform. Like I stated earlier, it is not my job to read his platform. I'm a candidate. I feel it is his job to be here. Eleanor Evans did not RSVP to me. She also received an invitation in the mail in addition to email. So obviously she does not receive the questions either. If a candidate, just like any election, if a candidate is going to go before, I would imagine, I did not, with the KOCT, for those of you that have watched the KOCT forums that were recently on TV with our Oceanside candidates, I'm assuming that the people that showed up for the forum got the questions ahead of time. But yes, these two people RSVP that they were going to be here. They did, so they received the questions. Mr. Blessing was very forthright. He could not be here. He gave me his platform. I don't feel like I said it is my place to present my Blessing's platform. So they were not given the questions, the other two, no. That they said they were going to come here. Okay, question number 1.
Can I ask you a question?
You cannot ask me a question because I haven't started.
No, but this is an overall question. Part of my ignorance. How many openings are there?
Okay, there are only 2 openings right now. These are the 2 candidates who are going to be up for re-election. It's District 2 and District 5.
Oh,
The next cycle,
2026, the other.
2026, I'm not sure. Obviously, it's not District 2 and 5.
The other 3 seats will be.
The other 3 seats, okay. So the next cycle will be District 1, District 3, and District 4. And unfortunately, the school board districts do not coordinate with their city districts. So it does create a confusion, and I don't know why they did that, but I'm not in charge of it, so. And they didn't ask my opinion, quite honestly. Okay, academics. How would you help Oceanside Unified School District provide an exceptional learning environment that empowers every student to graduate and be life ready? Okay, so we're going to go 2 and 5 just numerically, it's easier. So that would be candidate Witchman, so I'm going to hand off the microphone to her.
Okay, that's such an audacious question because we're talking about the grades. You're looking at elementary, you're looking at middle school, you're looking at high school. First of all, is the curriculum. The curriculum matters, and I know supposedly teachers, you plan your, you look at your curriculum and you get to try it out and you say, gee, this is the one that you want. The teachers that I've talked to last year, they like certain ones, and then your little executive director over curriculum says, no, we're going to do this one and this one. And so it's not filling the needs, and starts at kindergarten, starts at first grade, starts not even reading by the 3rd grade. And it's been noted that if they don't read and understand by the 4th grade, that's a pipeline to prison. And that's what the educators said, not anybody else. And so from that building blocks, the high school teachers would tell me, Emily, just bring them to me that they can read, they can write, they can understand, they know how to do multiplication tables, division, they know fractions and percentage. That's all. We can do the rest. And that's what needs to happen. If I was on there, I would really look. Unfortunately, I cannot trust our administration. I cannot trust them anymore. There's been so many things that I've seen sitting on the other side of the dais that isn't right. The school members don't even know what to ask. Okay, in my experience, because of the mistakes that I've made on the board, and said, oh yeah, I made mistakes. I'm not going to do them any longer. I'm going to stand up for the kids. I'm going to stand up and say, if I have to micromanage this department, I will. Slap my hand, and superintendents hate me for that. And that's why they don't want me on the board. They don't want us on the board. $73,000 to keep us off the board? Why? I mean, why? If they want to work with people, if they want to better their kids, but no, they won't show up. They won't do anything to us, for us. So again, it's all about getting down there and doing the deep digging that I know how to do. I know policy. And I'm going to get groups, and I'm going to get groups of teachers. I'm going to be talking to them. I'm not just going to look at the directors and the administrators. Oops, I'm sorry. You got to say something.
So
as Emily was saying, the Oceanside Teacher Association decided to get involved in this fight. They spent $73,000 to defeat me and Emily. They're asking all the teachers to go door knocking for them. They've never done that in the history of the school board. I think they're a little worried. They should be. Yes, because they're all going to be gone pretty soon. I would look at all of the classrooms. I think that we need to go through the classrooms. We need to go through the grades. We need to see where is the discrepancy? Why aren't these children learning despite thousands of dollars being thrown at the students? They're not learning. So I would look at the curriculum. I would look at the kids on base, the military kids, the special needs kids, the ones on the IEPs. And we need to get back to reading, writing, and math. I think these whole child community models where we're bringing in eyeglasses, we're bringing in counseling, we're bringing in free food and free clothes. We're not the welfare system. We are the education system. We are schools of learning. We need to get back to that. And we need to be accountable to the people, to the community. Our kids deserve a world-class education. I would love to bring back home economics, woodworking, plumbing, electricity, technology. I would love to teach them the Constitution, how to budget a checkbook, how to invest in the stock market, so that when these kids leave high school, they don't have to go to college to these woke schools and get indoctrinated and sexualized with your dollars and then turn around and hate you and hate their country and hate their neighbor. They could actually get a job and they can compete globally. So that's what I would do. Bring back the basics, common sense, and empower the teachers to raise the standards and expect the best from these kids. Expect excellent. They're highly capable. And I take out all of the social emotional learning that is damaging our kids as well. Thank you.
Okay, so these are the ones that were sorted out. I'm assuming the other ones were already addressed. Okay. Question number one. This is going to go to Rosie first since Emily started. Okay. Question number one, and then both of them will give you a real quick answer, but Rosie's going first, so that Emily always doesn't get to go first. It's not because she's older, because she's number two.
I don't care.
Number one, will you continue to advocate for libraries, reading materials that are open to all students?
The libraries are superseding their powers, and they are allowing garbage perversion into our libraries that have warning labels on them that say 18 and under, that there is a risk. We're allowing our children to see pornography, gay sex, getting on dating apps, high-risk behavior, rape between a father and a child. I don't think that's educational, and I don't think you do either, and I don't think you want your kids reading that stuff. Maybe when they're 18, or maybe when they're 25, when their brain is fully formed, but they're going for reading, writing, and math, not garbage. Our tax dollars should not be towards garbage. So yes, I am very much about protecting kids' innocence.
Because that question has been asked of me, and that's probably the first question. What do you think about the library books? And I said that I've spoken at school board meetings, and I specifically say graphic pornography. And people don't believe me. They don't believe what I said. So I made up this little packet, and I've got some pictures. Okay, you probably can't see them. I'm not going to go that much over them, but I've got pictures, and I've got other pictures like that. Okay, and I've got a couple of packets available if you want to take them home with them and look at it closer. Okay, there's a little poem, and that's what I'm looking at when I say graphic pornography. Also, a couple of community members have written letters, and the letters were rejected. They're saying, no, this is okay. And the reason they're okay is because they passed the Miller's test, and the Miller's test is that it's got to be information that encourages excessive interest in sexual matters. Two, it has to be clearly and without a doubt offensive, based on contemporary community standards, and it must lack serious literary, artistic, and political or scientific values. These are comic type books in our high school libraries. And this is what our staff says, our superintendent says, that this stuff is okay for our kids, okay? And so if And so that's what I'm against. I'm against the graphic pornography. That also too, I've got a couple packets if you want to look at it closer. And some of this is not appropriate for our community. It's not our community. It's not Oceanside. And if you look at if you look at Google and you do addiction, if you look at pornography, you see how many teenagers are wrapped up in that and what happens and how they get to there. Yes.
Hi, so the Miller test is federal law, so how do you plan to supersede that?
Well, you challenge it. You come back and challenge it. And so these people have to come back, just like we challenge the Williams for the facilities. We can challenge anything that the school district gives back to us. Yeah.
Okay, the next question is, are you satisfied with the level of vocational training available? College is not for every student. Emily, you could start on that because Rosie started last time.
Yeah.
Are you satisfied with the level of vocational training available? If not, what would you recommend?
Because not everyone goes to college.
Okay, yeah, no, definitely not. And this is one of my big mistakes. Just kick me because nobody mentioned about home ec and the home ec. We could have had culinary arts. We could have had design. We could have had all that stuff. We could have not taken away the shop classes. But at that time, administration, superintendent says we have to be college ready. We have to do all that. And of course, okay, as the board member, sure. I understand what you're saying. Well, we know that's not right. We know what we pay our plumber. We know what we pay our mechanic. We know all that. And that's not right. Right now, our CTE department, again, it's not what it could be. It doesn't serve the needs of our community, and there's a whole lot of work that needs to be. And there is a committee of different contractor type people there, but many times they're just giving the questions to answer, but it's hard for them to put in what they need to be. There's a lot of things that need to be, and we do need to get back to vocational. If I had my millions, I would have a vocational school for our kids, and so they could go from the basics all the way up to contractors, owners, corporations, whatever. But that would be there for them.
Thank you. Hold on a second.
This is a heavy basket, I mean, time-wise, we're not going to be able to do any baskets that are lighter.
Okay, we might have to put some of these questions. We're only here till 4 o'clock. Okay. Number 2, how do we keep political agendas from entering into the curriculum?
Doesn't Rosie get you answer that question?
Rosie, didn't you? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Who pointed that out? Arlene, thank you.
So I think I answered this question actually. I would bring in all of those trades into the school so that the kids can be career ready. Think of it this way: the Department of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion is totally unnecessary. It's very destructive. So if we took that money, that overinflated salary that department gets, I think we could bring back all of these trades that would actually benefit our kids and give them real life experience to enter the workforce. So I think I would look very closely at the DEI department and the social emotional learning department. Maybe remove the counselors that are dividing the kids from their parents. Take that money and put it back into the kids' education and invest in them. We could even do speech, government, debate, teach them about all the branches of government, the Constitution. That would be phenomenal if we could have the veterans come in and teach them about some of their experiences as well. So there's a lot of things that we could do for the betterment of our kids and our students.
Thank you. I'm going to have one more question because I'm looking at the time.
Okay.
The next question under this area is, how do we keep political agendas from entering into the curriculum? And this is kind of a twofold. How can we teach facts and the ability to know when something is a fact versus presented as fact, but it's really fiction? So, I'm sorry? You want me to repeat it again, Arlene? Okay, Rosie is first this time.
Okay, so like I said before, the 5 school board members hold all the power. It's invested in those 5 school board members. So they need to be bold and courageous people of integrity and high moral character. So that the teachers union and the superintendent cannot bully them, harass them, and intimidate them to pull off their political agendas. I don't think there should be any political agendas in school. We need to let the kids be kids. They have enough stress and enough worry without putting all this other garbage into their mind and putting these ideas that don't belong there. We don't have the right as teachers, as school board members, to teach ideologies, to teach religion, to teach politics, critical race theory, any of that stuff. That belongs to the parent. The parent is the number one person in the child's life, and we don't have a right to cause damage to that precious relationship. So we need to respect parents. And we're there to support. We are not there to replace the parent at all.
In many, all schools just have a curriculum committee. At that time, they get together, and I was on that for the longest time. And it's, again, who's ever presenting what textbook that they want or what program that they want. They present it, and it's like, okay, let's get out of here. It's after 3:30, it's after 4. And I get it. Teachers put in a long, hard day, and I'm not slamming them for that. But what I'm looking at is some school districts have curriculum committees in the late afternoons that parents are big part of that. Community is a big part of that. And that's where you have to hit it at the textbooks. And when you look back, it started back in the 80s when you had Zinn in his history books. And everybody said great and wonderful because up on top said they were good. Well, then they have to be good. But nobody really looked at them. And that's what started. If you look at my generation, look at my kids, how they started looking at it, my grandkids, how they started looking at it. So I dug deeper and I looked at the textbooks. And there it all is. There it all is. We stood back and we let that happen. As parents and as grandparents, we let that happen. So we need to be part of the community as in the role of a school board member. They're supposed to bring in community. They're supposed to bring in parents. They're supposed to bring in guardians. It says they're right on the policy for school board members. We need to be part of it, and that's where it needs to start so that we can look at what we have, and then we can own it or we can disown it. And that'll be up to the community of Oceanside. It's not other community but ours. And I resent people coming in from our school district, different superintendents coming in, telling us what to do, telling us how to do it. It's like, no, this is our community. We know what diversity is about. We know what equity and inclusion is about. Thank you.
Number 2, yeah. No, I'm starting number 2. Believe it or not, we just finished on what?
That's number 2. Sorry. I think she has, okay.
Number 2, student bullying concerns and a recent student suicide at Martin Luther King have made the local news. What measures would you implement to create a healthy school environment for all Oceanside Unified School District students? She just finished talking, didn't she?
A different question.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, you guys know what to do. It's fun out.
This is really multifaceted. I know I talked to several staff people at MLK. They're devastated. And they are devastated. It's not, it was hard for them. If they only knew. Again, restorative practices in our district is failing. A lot of that, and again, go back to TK, go back to kindergarten. It's the golden rule, kids. It's the golden rule. How many trainings do you have to these kids? This, that, your color, your whatever. No, it's the golden rule. How are we going to treat each other? And start from there. Also, the counselors, I feel it with our counselors in our schools, they're the academic counselors. And mental health in our school district has been there forever. Now it's social emotional learning, but we've always had mental health. We've always had our staff looking after our kids. If you know our good teachers, and if you have good teachers, they know their kids. Now what I am against is social emotional learning is the millions of dollars for surveys on our kids, asking your kids, well, how do you feel today? How are your teachers? What is your family doing? It's none of their business. I mean, from day to day, we all feel differently. Getting back to protecting our kids. Our school district doesn't have the time, doesn't have the money, and doesn't have the qualifications to treat some of these kids. And in certain cases, I can see where they needed family counseling. They needed to look at, our staff needed to look to see, hey, we need that extra step. The schools don't have family counseling as far as I know. And they need to have that certificate. They need to be that. It's all about the family. It's all about that family that we need to bring together to help that student. Because if the school thinks they can do it all, they're finding out that they can't. And look at the field. Thank you.
So yesterday on my way to a Protect Our Kids gala in Anaheim, I learned that there were 3 suicides in our district that I hadn't even heard of in the last year. And my heart was so sad. I hadn't even heard about these suicides. Devastating. There shouldn't be one suicide. I remember several years ago, there was a beautiful young lady at El Camino High School that had committed suicide at MLK. And I remember going with my children to go honor her at the park where she had taken her life. And I was just so sad to hear her little cousin. He said he was crying all the way there to the service, the memorial service, and he said, I don't understand why she did that. It's like she took all of her sadness, put it in a bucket, and dumped it on me. Wow. And then I went to the memorial service at the church, and I talked to some of her. So suicide is ugly. It's horrible. So there's something going on with our youth, and we need to figure it out soon. We need to be there for them. I would love for moms and dads, aunts and uncles and grandparents to volunteer at the schools and just be there to greet the kids and say good morning, have a wonderful day, give them a hug, give them a high five. And I think that also will cut down a lot of the bullying and a lot of the harassment, because we'll have some watchers there and some people, some adults role modeling what it is to be loving and to be kind.
Or needed to put in place so that this problem does not exist again as it currently exists. Okay, so I believe it is Emily's turn, right?
Again, like in our school district, I find that it's getting to be dysfunctional. Our security people don't feel like they're don't feel like they're respected. And they're just classified. And when negotiation starts coming up, they get the bottom of the barrel. And our administrators get thousands and thousands of dollars. Because they get a B2 raise. If the teacher's get a raise, the administrator's get a raise. Well, that's not going to happen if I get on the board. Unfortunately, I will vote against the teachers if the administration is part of that B2 raise. There's no way. And our security guards, yes, I've known security guards. I talked to the one, I was over at Jay Lynn's visitation last night, and there was one of the security guards from MLK, and she was hurting. She was hurting. She was there again, and I'm sure some others had come, because of the feelings, because how they feel about the students. Wherever you go, if you know our school staff, if you know the high schools and things, our SROs, and they all pull together. But when there's a lack of respect and there's a lack of who they value, many of them don't feel valued anymore because they're being pushed aside for this reason and that. And that's the whole thing that's going on with our schools. If we tighten up, if actually our superintendent actually cares about the staff, if she actually cares about the parents, she actually cares about our students. And that's everything that I see that's going wrong. It's not happening there. And so I'm hoping that the school board, the majority of the school board, because there will be a majority of the school board, there'll be 3 there for sure. We'll do something. We'll look at her. We'll do evaluation. She's not had evaluation since 2022, but she gets the B2 raise. She gets a 3 to 5% also. Come on. Not good.
So sitting at school board meetings, we've heard a lot of bullying, sexual harassment of young girls at Santa Margarita, boys coming and telling girls, I want to have sex with you. The girl says no, then I'm going to shoot you. Parents complain to the school board, nothing is done. It's very, very sad. If our kids do not feel safe in school, then there is a serious problem. And if the complaints fall on deaf ears of the 5 school board members, then they need to be replaced if they're not doing anything about it. Because the schools should be safe. And the teachers should feel safe, and the staff should feel safe. And if we are not listening to our parents and we're not protecting kids, then we have no business working with kids, and we need to be voted out. Also, I think that, like I said before, having dads there, I know in other school districts, they have dads volunteer around the clock at the schools, and the grades go up, the attitudes go up, the bad attitudes go down, the violence goes down, the bullying goes down. A lot of these kids need a dad. I mean, most of our prisons and juvenile halls are filled with boys because they have an absent father. So dads play a critical role in students' lives. So I would bring the dads and the granddads, I'd welcome them. An open door policy, please come and be there for the kids. Of course, we'll do background checks on them before we let them in. Not stupid.
Okay, I believe Rosie goes first this time, but if she doesn't, she is now, okay? Campus safety. With the district emphasis on mental health, having counselors on every campus, why is bullying on the rise?
I think bullying is on the rise because we're teaching social justice, which means there are no consequences for bad behavior. If you behave poorly, you get a slap on the wrist. The teachers and the principals are told, don't expel the kids. There's no consequences for bad behavior. The kids sit around these social justice circles and they talk about their feelings and what do you think the punishment would be for your bad behavior. And so that's got to change. You and I, when we were growing up, there were rules, and if we broke the rules, there were consequences. And that is the best way for a child to feel safe and loved. If you have expectations for your kids, and there are consequences for their behavior. You outline what the boundaries are, and you establish that they will respect their teacher, they will respect their elders, and if not, then you follow through on the consequences. There's nothing wrong with having a child be responsible for their bad behavior. We're not saying the kid is bad, we're saying their behavior is bad. So we need to raise the standard, definitely, because otherwise they're going to be little hellions that are going to be running our country, and we're going to be in trouble. They're going to be confused, sad, suicidal, depressed, and they're not even going to know how to read or write or fill out an application. So that's not the goal here. The goal is creating an environment where they thrive, where we have a bar of excellence, and we're empowering the teachers and the staff to meet those needs, but also we're equipping the kids to be responsible, independent, self-sufficient, and contributing members of society that are not selfish.
Emily has to answer.
It's basically the same.
Oh, I'm sorry, Emily, do you want to add to it? Come on up and add.
It's my basket.
It's just basically, again, what Rosie's been saying. Also, one of the high schools, the teacher said, again, sort of just was not working, this and this and this and this. We asked the district to come to help. They come and give us these trainings, these seminars, hour after hour. Oh, this is what you're supposed to do. Again, how am I supposed to do it with a classroom full of kids? I'm supposed to go off to the side. I'm supposed to do this. So they just said, we're tired. We're not asking for any more trainings, nothing. We just have to go and do the best that we can. And so this is what we hand out to our teachers. And I'm sure our administrators are getting to the top. And we get a lot of information from the county. Okay, this is a big spider web that's on us. We've got the state and we've got the county and everybody on us. The guy that's now doing the security for the county, he's an old Oceanside boy. And he worked for our district. So plan one is day 2 of when I get elected is I'm going to be talking to him when he comes to Oceanside. I'm going to say what's right and what's wrong. Of course, not say Oceanside, but just say over, right? You don't want to do that. Forbid. So I will get some guidelines because there are policies, there are regulations, there are attorneys telling you this, attorneys telling you that. There is a way around to get back to what needs to be done. And so getting some more professional input along with common sense. The Lord gave me common sense, thank goodness, and working with who we have at the district office. Because I know we've got good people, we've got good administrators there. They're just tethered, so to speak. And so if we can kind of open up the gates and to get some common sense going on for our kids to be protected. Thank you.
What I'm doing with the baskets here is questions that we've not gotten to, because this is wonderful, we have so many questions. I'm putting them in basket, this was addressed, this was not addressed, in case we have extra time. Okay, number 3, I believe, Emily goes first. Student needs. Student needs. How will you help assure that our school system meets the unique and diverse needs of all of the district's students?
It comes out to the school board requiring on her evaluation who she picks to be her superintendents, who she picks to be her directors. Again, in my 24 years, I've had good directors, good superintendents, and not so good. So they need to be evaluated. I can see so much in our special ed, in our English language, in our curriculum, in our safety, and our nutrition. Any of those departments, we need good people. And right now, unfortunately, we have some management people that have been picking from other districts that they were let go from those districts. And so things like that, we don't need that. We don't need those people to be on the beck and call of the superintendent. They need to serve us. They need to serve the parents. They need to know the special ed person, director, doesn't need to be tethered by the superintendent and her rules, but the superintendent does not know special education. Same thing with English language learners. That person needs to be able to go forth and do what she thinks needs to be done. Because many times those people, especially the Latino population, and we have specialists that know what needs to be done in English language. But that's not what's going on. That's not what's popular. The superintendent wants everything that's popular so that she can get her champion for equity. She's an equity champion. Oh, isn't that marvelous? But look at our kids are dying. They're hurting. That does not make a difference to me at all. As equity champion? No, I won't accept that from anybody. I won't accept that from the board. And so when they start their training meetings, say, this is the equity champion. Come on, it does not mean it. And again, the teachers are murmuring, but they're not going to open their mouths. And I don't want them to. There's been situations that I know personally that they've given a hard time to some of these positions, and they've lowered them, and they treat them like contract laborers and not being in the district for 23 and 24 years. I know that for a fact. And there's others that, of course, aren't going to say anything to me. Some that do, and of course, it never gets out. But there are things like that happening, and that's what I'm saying. It's very systemic, starting at the very, very top. And the school board needs to have their heart and soul back into our community, back into you guys. We need meetings like this quarterly. When I'm on the board, I will have those. Thank you.
So our superintendent, since she's been here, there has been a deterioration in our student learning and grades. The grades are in the 30s and 40s. Under this administration, they've closed 4 schools. From what I understand, Superintendent Vitale wants a fancy district office. She wants to take money from our kids for our district office to the tune of $40 million, and also taking bond money from Bond W. So if we're closing schools and our grades are in the tank, I don't understand why we are rewarding her poor performance with raises year after year, which our 5 board members continually do. That is wrong, and that is misuse of your taxpayer and my taxpayer hard-earned dollars. So we need to stop that. We need a new board. All 5 of them need to be replaced because they are beholden to her, and that's not how the system is set up. So that's the first thing we need to do, and we need to make these kids safe. Pablo Talk is an active construction zone, and they sent 300 young children, elementary kids, into this school. That's terrible decisions on the part of the school board. So safety is number 1. If our kids aren't safe and our parents are stressed out, that's not good for anybody. Stress is a killer. So we need to get our kids safe, and we need to get back to learning, reading, writing, and math, and get out all this other garbage out, all these other political agendas. They don't have any place in the classroom. So I think that's how we're going to make our kids succeed. It's going back to what works.
Okay, this one goes to Emily first. How can boys be kept out of girls' bathrooms and locker rooms, sports, to keep our girls safe?
I bet that person knows that I had my Chris. She was a basketball star at El Camino. And I tell the story that if she was playing basketball now, she was a guard, she was about 5'11", about 145. And if there happened to be a male that was 6'1", 180 pounds, forward coming at her, this mama bear would be right between on that field, on that court, because I would not allow that. And I think what should happen is attorneys, if I was attorney, I wish I knew a good attorney, would send a letter to each and every school district and say if any child, if any female is hurt because of a male playing sports against a female, that school district would be liable and would be sued till who knows when. And I don't care if it's going to break down that school district, but how dare they do that to our young women? How dare they not protect them? And how dare they say, okay, well, because this law says this. No, we need to protect our girls. And I think the men need to come to our board meetings and protect their daughters, protect their granddaughters. There's no way. How crazy is this? In Years in Mine world, 20 years ago, how crazy would that have been? People would have laughed in their faces and said, are you ridiculous? So now we have to go back to our school board meeting, school board and our superintendents that making the $200,000, $300,000 sitting there looking at us, or not looking at us usually, and say, how dare you do that to our children? How dare you do that to our kids? So no, that would not happen on my watch. Go ahead and sue me. Go ahead and do whatever you're going to do. Make this district a big highlight because this is what we're going against. But there's no way. There's the limit, and that's my limit right there. Thank you.
I love this question. Wow, so I think this whole thing started in Virginia with this whole let the boy who says he's a girl go into the girl's bathroom. Well, that happened, and a girl was raped. So this dad went to the school board meeting and was raising hell, which you and I would both do as well. So that's how this whole movement started of mama bears and papa bears coming out. I don't know if you knew that or not. But it starts with you and I declaring truth, standing on the side of the truth. My husband works for a large corporation, manages a department, and there was a trans person that came into the men's bathroom. So all of the men came to my husband and said, oh my gosh, there was this woman that came into the bathroom and said, what are you doing? You know, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's a woman. So they all complained to him. They were very, very uncomfortable having a woman in their space, invading their privacy. So my husband never saw this person. And he went to HR and he went to the CEO of the company and he said, my men feel very uncomfortable with this person coming into their private space. Why does the one person, why do their rights supersede the 99? I can't just go into a woman's bathroom or whatever bathroom I choose to. That's not right. So all of these men, they stood up. My husband was dragged into probably about 4 meetings. They raised Cain and whatever. My husband stood his ground and he said, no, a man is a man is a man, a woman is a woman, and if you feel that way, create a bathroom for the confused individual. But if you are going to allow this woman that thinks she's a man into our bathroom, she can accuse all of us of rape. And she will win because they have all of the rights, unfortunately, right now. So he stood his ground. They created a bathroom for this person. 2 weeks later, they quit. So men need to just stand up and protect women because we're creating a rape culture for our little girls and our young women. They're not, men and women are biologically different, and it's not loving to affirm a lie. So we need to push back on this hogwash.
Okay, the next go-cards, I'm going to condense them because it was 2 areas and it addresses the same thing.
Basically, one second.
It's on.
Okay, the special ed students in our district are not being served in a timely manner. IEPs oftentimes drag on. Obviously, this has not changed since I retired in 2018, it sounds like, but anyhow. IEPs drag on, and special ed students are not served in a timely manner, and it often seems like special ed students are shortchanged. So if you were elected to the school board, how would you address this issue? I believe it's Rosie first this time.
I've had quite a few special needs families that have talked to me about their child not being safe, not being heard, their IEP not being followed, and so they've pulled their students from our schools, our Oceanside schools, and good for them. I encourage everybody actually to pull their kids out of schools because the schools are woke and they're harming our children. And so, but I know that 90% of people are going to send their kids into the school system, and that's why I decided to run to protect the kids. So I want to be inside and I want to have power, and I want to be able to stick up for the kids and stick up for the parents, and especially the special needs, and especially the military families that serve us so well and sacrifice so much for our country. They deserve it, and they need to hear their voice needs to be heard and respected. And so yes, definitely going to help those communities that give so much to our community.
Again, it starts from the top. The superintendent needs to give up her power, give up her personal agenda, and hire a special ed director who knows the law. There's so much law involved with that if they only followed the law, things would run better. In the good old days, back when I was on the board, we had the teams of the special ed teams in the schools. They worked well together. The school side, the PT, the OT, the teacher themselves, and they worked together, and they worked out a lot of things. Each case is individual cases, and they would do what they needed to do. They wouldn't push off on each other. Now our school district has mid-management type people, mid this and mid that, and so they're supposed to go to the school and make it better. Well, you know what they do? They pass it on to the school site. I know for a fact that psychs have gone into school districts or schools, and the work's not being done. It's not law, it's not anything, so it's no wonder that we're getting sued, one side down the other, because it's not happening. And it's not happening because the director is not doing her job. She's not evaluating her people. She's not evaluating the departments. She's not doing the training that used to be. A lot of, as far as I'm concerned, a lot of our psychs who does the law piece of it, helps with the OT and the PT people also, all those that have retired, they were quality people. They had integrity. They knew what our kids, they tried with our kids. They tried with our teachers. They did a lot. Now, I don't see that happening. We were hiring this and hiring that and doing this. There's no family. There's no togetherness anymore. And it's not the detriment of our kids. And it's just a real sad thing that I have also been involved in all the special ed. I've got a special needs grandson, and he just turned 18. And so we've been, I'm right there with them, and things that happen, things that does happen well, and things that don't happen well. And my heart breaks for them, and that's why I'm here right now. This old lady doesn't need to be doing this, but I've got to do that. Thank you.
Okay, I believe Rosie goes first, right?
Keep going.
Okay. What is the number one student need that is missing from our district right now, in your point of view?
I want to be Emily.
Okay, Emily goes first.
Let's decide who goes first.
We need to know that each and every student in our district matters, that they are part of a big piece, that they belong, they are going to be nurtured. Nurtured, there we go. Again, not family, but they're going to be cared for. We know our teachers. We know when we go to our schools, and we have those kind, loving teachers that augment our families and know where family stands, know where theirs stands. We have all got stories of great teachers, and I've got those between my girls, between my grandkids, of all the neat things that our teachers can be. And many of them aren't anymore, because there's agendas out there. They're picking teachers of their agendas, and they're picking teachers because of who they are and what they want. I had a high school teacher, retired one, a great teacher, fabulous teacher. She said, one of the highlights of our career when our generation was teaching, which was just maybe 10 years ago, our students never knew what political party we were because we taught critical thinking. We taught them information. We taught them how to think, not what to think. And they did not know our political affiliations. And that was, to me, unbelievable. When you look back, that's the truth. We didn't have teachers saying, whatever they are, whoever they are, whatever. No. They're just our teachers. So that's where I can see our kids need that to get back to what we all have. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, we're at number 4. I'm sorry, no, we are not at number 4.
Okay, the number one student needs, I think, are to feel safe at school. A parent came to me and said that her 12-year-old son texted her and her husband, they're divorced, and said, "Get me the F out of this school. I feel suicidal." So what is happening in our schools that a 12-year-old would feel suicidal in the public school system? So that parent was vigilant, and she pulled that child out of the school system and put him in private school and saved his life. Thank God she listened to her child. So we need to listen to the kids, and we need to meet their needs. And if they don't feel safe at school, which should be one of the safest places for them, then we have a real problem on our hands. So we need to make our kids feel safe, feel loved, feel accepted. All children are precious. And that would be my number one goal, is to make them feel safe. And if they're not feeling safe, if they feel bullied or harassed or threatened, then put a stop to it by all means necessary.
Okay, now we are on number 4. Fiscal responsibility. As a school board member, how would you, I think I need my eyes checked, okay. As a school board member, how would you balance the need to provide a quality education with the need to respond to the local taxpayers' burdens? I believe Rosie goes first this time. That's your new job.
So the Oceanside School District is, I think, $33 million budget. It's a lot of money that they have to decide where to spend that money. And I know that our school district is very top heavy. A lot of the administrators make all the money, and people like support staff, the teaching aides, and the noon duties make about $15 an hour. That is nothing to pay their bills, and they do a lot to support our kids and our students. I have a good friend who's a teaching assistant here in the Oceanside schools, and she works with the special needs classes, which she loves. But it's hard, especially in the high school, when you have a 12, 13-year-old girl. You actually have to change her, if you know what I mean. It's kind of a dirty job, and she gets $15 an hour, while our superintendent gets well over $250,000, $300,000 plus benefits. Our Department of DEI, he makes $150,000, $60,000, $200,000. Much higher, I don't know. They make too much money, and so do the associate superintendents. And what do we have to show for it? Failing grades, school closures, the buses taken away from our kids, the parents targeted and discriminated against and bullied and harassed at the school board meetings. So yes, we need some positive change, and we need it immediate. We need to stop the bleed now.
Could you ask the question real quick?
Question number 4. As a school board member, how would you balance the need to provide a quality education with the need to respond to the local taxpayers' burdens? The local taxpayer burdens, like the people in this room's burdens.
Okay. Unfortunately, our taxes burdens, they tell us what they are. We don't have any control over it. They just give the school a bunch of money and say, okay, deal with it. But what we need to do is make sure that it's going into the classroom. Make sure that we get results. It's a results-based business, okay? I mean, educators get off tax-free as far as not being it. And again, I'm not looking at the teachers. I'm not looking at, our our support staff. I'm looking at the superintendents that are well-educated, that have the PhDs, that are doing all this supposedly stuff, getting the pat on the back. We need to make sure this is an educational institution, and what we do is we need to get the best bang for our buck. We've been all kinds of money because of COVID, and they've been spending money here and spending money there. We had 1 social worker last year. Well, now we've got 4 social workers. How many tutors do we have in our classrooms? How many intervention teachers do we have in our classroom? What are we doing with the 4 social workers? Okay? Yes, social emotional learning, quote, is important. Same thing with mental health. I mean, it all can be balanced. I mean, and it's going over the top, and so we have to make better use of our money, basically. We get what we get, and we have to pay what we have to pay, but we need to do better as far as what we're getting a bang for our buck in our society.
Okay, this is sort of redundant, but I'm going to ask a question. I have to kind of come up in 3 things. Okay. We've already established that the administration gets more money than the classrooms and the students. And I know that teachers spend a lot of money out of their own pockets. I personally testified to that during my 29 years in the school system. So how are you going to rectify the problem so that the money is not so top-heavy, so that the money is funneled to the schools, funneled to the classrooms, funneled to special things where we can have debate teams, that speech teams, more enrichment for our students at the high school level, more opportunities rather than so much money going to administration, so that materials are in the classrooms in a timely manner. I'm kind of sort of condensing these 3 questions into one because I think they kind of overlap. So the last one who spoke was Emily, so this would go to Rosie first.
So I think we need to go in as school board members and look at the budget, and just like every household, create a budget and look at where our spending is going. And if those programs aren't yielding results, then we need to make those hard cuts, make those hard decisions. So the superintendent should no longer get a raise for poor performance, and no one else should get a raise for that matter, not even the teachers, until the grades are up, right? That's common sense. So we run our household, we don't spend more than we make, neither should the school, because we're entrusted with your money, and you put your faith and trust in us, so we need to do the right thing. So that's where your vote is very important. You vote people in that are going to listen to you and represent you. I am available. I would love to sit down with any of you, sit down for coffee, and listen to your concerns. And I want to be your voice on the board. So it all starts with you and your vote. I want to empower you guys to take over the school system and the school board because it's failing miserably.
Again, it's a basic issue of the school board. What is the school board? What are their goals? What do they want for you? What do they want for you? And again, imagine a school board member you're electing us because you are part of the community. And as far as I can see, the school board is here and administration is there. It has to be a balance. Right now, it's like this. It's not coming from you. And so we're trying to alert the voters to say, hey, look to see what's going on. And thank you for having this. Because again, we can express what's not going on and what needs to happen. And again, the superintendent, he has to give that direction to the other superintendents. The other superintendents, just like your boss, are you going to say no to your boss? I'm not going to do it that way. You'd be out of there. So all the associate superintendents, our HR, our academic, our business, yes ma'am, yes ma'am, yes ma'am, yes ma'am. So they're doing whatever they're being told. And that's just a system of business and corporation. So that's why we have to change the top, the school board, because they're the ones that govern. They're the ones that say, superintendent, if your evaluation, you didn't do this, if you didn't raise the test scores at least 2.2%, I'm not going to give you another year of your contract. So you've only got 2 years instead of 3 years. Well, does that superintendent has a message coming? If she doesn't get going, she's only going to have 1 year as a contract. And after that, she's out of there. Either that or she's going to leave, which needs to happen, because we don't need to pay her extra money for kicking her out of there. No, she needs to leave. So that message can be sent by the board to say, no, you've only got 2 years. No, you've only got 1 year. If you're not doing what we want you to do, then you're out of here. And that's where it all starts, and that's where it all can start happening for the positive, for the good, for the community, for Oceanside.
If federal funding for schools is no longer available, how will you adjust the budget? Where will you cut first? Emily.
It's confusing.
You have to be specific. I think the world would be coming to an end if we don't get federal funding, because that's our money. So I don't know how. I mean, it would not happen. Yeah, it would not happen, because our whole system, our whole civilization would be broken down by that time. So we
So
would.
maybe we should just revise this question. I don't like to edit people's questions, but maybe we should just, what would be, okay,
Maybe we need to revise the question in a year of deficit funding, or in a year where we are going to have declining funds because enrollment continually seems to go down in the school district. If cuts need to be made, done, where would you do your first cut? Is that more clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, of course, it's Todd Madison's back there. He's our numbers guy, and I would turn to him if I was on the board and have a committee with him and a couple of others to a step-by-step budget, looking at the budget. The school district has to budget like 3 years, and they have to look at their enrollment, they have to look at different things. So it's kind of iffy up and down. But yeah, of course it has to be cut. It has to be cut in the middle, fat in the middle of all these people that are driving around the district. The district spends about $6,000 a month on gas. Our little old district have people driving around. That's what, about 60 gas tanks. What are they doing? Aren't they in their classrooms? So there's a lot of that waste, a lot of that can happen, and I think Todd would be helpful in looking at that and saying, okay, this is the black and white. This is what's going to happen. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough to cut. I mean, we've all had to cut everything, many things. So yeah, it would be a tough thing, but there's a lot to cut, as far as I'm concerned. All across the board.
Oh, that's a super easy one. I would fire the superintendent and hire a person that is competent and capable, that listens to the community, that does not have a political agenda, and listens to the school board members and is beholden to them. I would get rid of the Department of DEI and the SEL department. That would free up a ton of money, and we would have the money that we need to get
Number 5. School board members need to be responsive to their constituents. How would you engage the community? How would you engage the community to improve public schools in the district so that they are more responsive to your constituents' ongoing needs? I believe it is Emily first. Okay.
That's also an easy one. I'm going to be quoting the role of the school board according to policy. It says number 1, setting the direction of the district through process that involves number 1, the community, number 2, parents and guardians, number 3, students, and number 4, staff, and is focused on student learning and achievement. Okay, also too, it mentions on number 2 and number 3 and number 4, the different roles of the superintendent. That mentions community, it mentions parents, mentions committees. Our school district, and it's never really had some parent committees that when I got on the board, I'm going to ask our attorney, give me the parameters for a district committee, parent committee. There are advisory committees. I was on the Ethics Studies Advisory Committee, but it was like a dog and pony show. Here's what we want you to do, and here's how you want to do it. You really didn't have much input, and that's a lot like how the district runs its things that I've been around for 20-some years. But this would be, I would look at it differently again. I would have, even if the attorney doesn't say, well, school committees, I was at a training said that school board members, we can have, and maybe meet quarterly, every other month, and parents from there, maybe different sections, different areas, special ed, facilities, curriculum, your issues. I mean, because this is about your issues. It's not about all these people, all our administrators, I think except for one up on top, aren't from Oceanside. They haven't been in Oceanside long. They don't know who we are. And that's the thing when I was on the ethnic committee, why I was put on that committee, because I kept saying, it's not Oceanside. That's not us. We are unique. We are who we are. We live here for a reason. We love our community, and we love our kids, and we love all that our parents, that our grandparents have been here, or even the newcomers. And so the role of the board is community, is parents, is guardians, is meeting your needs. It is meeting your needs, not Sacramento's, not the nation, and not the county, but it's your needs as parents and guardians of the community.
So this current school board and superintendent have created a very hostile environment for community members and for parents. It's very sad. We've been going as a group about 4 years now to try to get the porn out of school libraries and bring the grades up. And imagine they don't want to do that. They refuse to do that. So that tells me that they want to harm our children. They're actively harming our children. That is not okay with me. So I would like to bring transparency and accountability back. We need to make the meetings accessible by Zoom, move the time to 6 o'clock when it's convenient for parents, and we need to bring KOCT cameras back as well. And we need to create an environment where parents are respected as the #1 teacher in a child's life and the #1 guardian. We do not have the right to supersede and trample their rights. No law, AB 1955, I don't care what Governor Newsom says or Ray Bonchak, no law can ever take your God-given rights away from you. You don't need the permission to talk to the teacher doesn't need the permission to talk to you. You have your voice. Do not give up your rights. So I encourage parents to be parents. You are the biggest influence in your child's life. You're the biggest role model, the biggest supporter. And so, yes, so I'm all about community being involved and being respected and working together for the betterment of the students so that they can grow up in a healthy, thriving environment where they're learning. Thank you.
What happens if the parents don't believe that? The majority of the parents don't raise their kids right. What do you do with that?
I did say that, but it turns out there is a Girl Scout troop coming in a few minutes.
Okay,
Do you want to answer it?
okay, community relations. Okay,
Excuse me. I think there's a man back there that
Yeah,
has.
but
I couldn't hear your
yeah,
question.
Rose just kind of saying, parents don't
okay.
believe in what she's saying, that they're not really raising their kids, because I know a number of parents that they're working 2 or 3 jobs, and the siblings are raising the kids, and they don't have control of that environment. These kids coming out of elementary and middle school have already been exposed to everything that's in the high school libraries. How do you plan to control the parents? Because the parents are the ones that are helping you raise those children. Okay, so if you don't have control of that, because they're not all going to be Protestant Christians, they're not all going to be, Buddhists or whatever it is. They're all going to have their own things, and they're going to let them do what they want to do.
Okay, I'm gonna let you guys do that. We have 10
Just,
more minutes.
just real quick, I know the district has several trainings for parents. They go out of their mind, out of their way for training parents at the PTOs and the PTAs, and that's something that if that is a need in our community or in your school, by all means, go back to administration, say, hey, we need some more training for our parents. What are we going to do for? Again, each school is very different. They're not all the same. So if that is a need in your school, then as a community and as parents, then you get together and get that happen. Because yeah, we do have parents that have 3 or 4 jobs, and the school does a lot for them. They do a lot for them. So each situation is unique, and that's what we're all about. We're all about communication, so we can communicate that kind of information to our parents, to our kids. It's all for the kids. All for whatever will benefit the kids in the most timely manner.
Yeah, I mean, if we need to do parenting classes, then we should. I mean, the parents are ultimately responsible. They're the adults, and these are children. So yeah, but we do need to respect the parents as the ultimate authority in the child's life. We're not their parents. So we need to support them every way we can and respect and honor their wishes and be there for the kids to teach them reading, writing, and math. We're not there to raise them.
Okay, first I was told we had extra time, now I'm told they are going to pretty much adhere us to 4 o'clock. So, I'm going to ask the candidates to give their closing statements. My last question was, you were one voice on a school board of five members. How would you go about trying to get change if other people are against it? So, how would you try to do consensus? You can either answer that question or you can do whatever you want in your closing statement. You each have about 2 minutes. And I'm going to give it to...
Whoever spoke last is first.
All right, so I think it's important to be the one voice and try to form a coalition with your teammates, your board members. So that is the goal. The goal is to get parents and grandparents on the board in 2 years to take those other 3 seats. Hopefully me and Emily will be elected in by you guys in November, and then we'll find 3 other parents that actually will listen to the community and the parents and clean up the system for our kids.
The way I would do it, the way I'm going to do it when I have one voice, it's all about policy. It's all about the board agenda. It's all about the organization. It's all about the professionalism of everything. And in each board, and we really need 2 meetings a month, not just one. There's like 40 to 50 general consent items on the board agenda. 5-0. The board has no clue how much it's there and how many questions they have. I don't know if the superintendent gives them 3 or 4 days, to look it over, or yeah, they ask questions, yeah, they get an answer, but it's not the way it is. So when a board agenda comes out, I would be asking questions like, what is the program? What is the goal of the program? What are the needs of the program? How are you rating the program? What is the goal, and is the goal met, and how is it met, and what's the metrics of it? So on each and every item, there's so much to ask the staff about, and that's when you start turning it over, and hopefully other board members will be asking those kind of same questions. This was when I was on the board before. That's what I did. I didn't know a whole lot, and I still won't know because there's a lot of new things going on. So you would ask questions. You would ask for accountability. There's a lot you can do within your parameters to set those professionals with the idea that this is not going to happen and just going to be a 5-0 anymore. I want answers. I want results. I want evaluations. And that's the way we want for our kids. And so, again, it's just one voice, it's just one person, but maybe I just might have other board members ask those questions and feel supported, because I know lots of times they might be inside and they don't want to ask it because the superintendent always wants the 5-0. They want to be supported. And that happened to me when I was on the school board. I told our last board superintendent, said, you know what, I want to be a snot. I'm going to vote against it because I told you I don't like it. I told you I didn't want it. And you keep going to board. So the other 4 say 4 because they just did that. So I'm going to vote against it. Of course, he would cringe, but life would go on. So things like that happen until we can get things in the right motion, the right framework, and the right goal-setting mindset that's going to be positive for our kids.
I want to thank everyone for coming out today. There's still a lot of things we could have discussed, but I'm surprised that the time went so quickly, which is good. It has been a very educational dialogue from many areas. I encourage you, if you have not been to a school board meeting, to go to one. They are...
When's the next one?
The next one is Tuesday, October 8th. It is going to be quite a school board meeting, is all I'm going to say. At Cesar Chavez, off of Oleander. It's the middle school. So, but yeah, the school board meetings are very, they're very enlightening, that's all I'm going to say. You have to make your own opinion, but regardless, thank you very much for coming out. Like I said at the very beginning, it does take a village to educate our children. Our children matter. The fact that all of you took time out of your busy schedule to come today is a real testament to the desire and the impetus to improve the school system and to make sure that our children are educated. I do want to go on record, however, saying that I did start at the very beginning by saying that I was in the district from 1989 to 218. I had the privilege of spending my last 18 and a half years on base Camp Pendleton. But I did start in Garrison and Reynolds. I did not jinx them because those schools closed after I retired in 218. No, and I was at Jefferson for a year and a half. So I kind of feel like I have, even though most of my background has been elementary, I kind of feel like I do have a spectrum. And I think there are things that the district has done well. So I think that those are the things we want to make sure that stay in place for our kids. Because some of those things that worked, like I really believe in busing. I think that was a good thing. I was really sad for that to go away. But there are things that have been brought in, and I think those things we need to also maintain as well. And I think it's very important. I know everyone has a really busy schedule, but just to kind of like keep informed, or like we talked about, you ask your child, how did it go today? And sometimes it's not a one. That's the whole thing. You're talking about human nature, and it's not always a one size thing fits all. So thank you very much. Stay engaged. God bless everybody, and thank you so much for taking time to come out today. Thank you.